All right. How's everybody doing today? How is everybody's Wednesday? Good week, bad week? Pros, cons? What's going on? There's freaking pop-up going on. All right. Let everybody get in. What's going on? Everybody see the tax video? Does anybody follow me who's not from America? I'd love to get your opinion on our tax system and your view of taxes. How can I do a kickflip? I used to watch Andrew Reynolds over and over. I watched his front foot flick off the nose. That was the thing for me. Can't hear you. Oh, shoot. I'm on mute. Uh-oh, this isn't good. Why can you not hear me? That is a problem. Somebody tell me you can't hear me again. I don't know why you can't. That's not good. Can you hear me? Looks like my mic's on. I hear you. Can I get a couple more people telling me that they can hear me? I had like 3 in a row saying they can't. We can hear you. Okay, perfect. All right, we're back on. I was kind of tripping there. Finance or lease? This is on the car. Should you buy? Should you buy it in cash? Should you finance? Should you lease? Okay, what I was taught growing up was you always buy, you never lease, and you don't finance. That's what I was always taught. I still believe it, but I have more color for or I have more to add in that question. So when you're getting started, like, you're making a little bit of money, you're trying to invest what you can, it's not a lot. I think it is incredibly smart to buy a car in cash, buy something cheap, and eliminate the monthly payment. I think that is a very smart strategy. It's what I did from, the second I got a car until I was in my 30s. I basically started with a Honda Civic. I bought it for, $2,000. I put a little bit of money into it, but I had no car payment. I did that up until we were about to have my first daughter, and my wife basically was like, no more car. Like you have to buy like an adult car. The Honda Civic, I don't want you doing it anymore. She just felt like it wasn't safe, which it's not. It's a bucket of tin, especially the early 90s models. So then I bought a Toyota Prius. I think I paid like $22,000 for it. And I was on that path up until I bought my first Tesla. I bought my first Tesla in 2015. I bought it used, and I think I paid $50,000 for it. So that was by far the most expensive car I had ever bought. At that point, though, I could afford to buy that car in cash outright. I decided to finance it, and the reason why I did it, and here's basically where I'm going with this. If you were somebody who is going to buy a car, finance it, and sell it every, let's call it 5 years, then I actually think it's better to lease. If you're somebody who's just going through cars quickly, just lease them. The only, I think, advantage to financing a car is if you own the car for multiple years after your loan is paid off, so that you have years without a car payment. The other thing that I do think is really smart, whether you're gonna buy something in cash or finance it, is buy a used car. Buy something that's 3 years old. Let the majority of the depreciation already run its course, and you still get a reliable car. I think that's a pretty smart option. What I do now, I made a video the other day about buying my last Tesla. So basically, this is what I did. I bought my first Tesla. I ended up selling it, and I leased my next one. And I was kind of operating off the idea of, dude, I'm going through cars pretty quickly. Then I bought the last one. I bought it in my business, and the reason why I did it is so that I could use the bonus depreciation and pull it all, or now it's 80% of it to year one to offset some of the taxable income. Because I do use that car, it's basically a business car. So I think there is advantages in buying once you're playing like the when there's tax incentive or using something for a business, but to basically take that long ass story and make it very short. No car payment means you have more money that gets to go towards investing. You'll make more money doing that than buying nice cars and having a monthly payment. All right, let's hit a skate question for the skaters who are here. Who's winning in a blackout drunk, P-Rod or Steve Barra in his prime? Steve Barra doesn't drink. I don't think he ever has, so P-Rod's taking the cake on that one. Toyotas allow you to hold on to it for longer once paid off. Yeah, Toyotas, like, I used to be a car guy. I used to be super into cars. And Japanese cars are made very well and they last very long. There's a very strong argument that if you buy those cars, you can have them longer with no monthly payment, which means more money. Now, what Ramsey's going to tell you is don't have a car payment so that you can use what's going to your car payment to pay off your debt. And just for context, the average monthly payment right now for a car, I think it's like $700. And so if you're not paying that $700, that's a lot of money you could put towards, in Ramsey's case, paying off debt. But if you're avoiding bad debt, what also that means is that $700 could go towards investing every month. And remember, the earlier you start, the larger that amount gets. I'm in Hong Kong, but American, was freelancing for a few years, and when I decided to look into moving back to the US, I learned I was supposed to have paid taxes like I was living in the US. Yeah. It's interesting once you start crossing over. Like we even, we'll speak to investors who are in different countries. And even like the regulation and in certain countries you have to hold back a certain amount of the return for tax implications. It's interesting. I don't work outside of America, and I've never really invested outside, so I don't really have any experience in that one. Used cars are just as expensive as new ones these days. It's changing. It's definitely changing. There's a moment where that was absolutely true. It's actually, a big reason why I bought the new Tesla as opposed to a used one, because there was no premium there was no advantage to really buying a used one other than you didn't have to wait for however long it was going to take to get the new one because everything was undersupplied. But in most cases, if you take away this post-pandemic moment we're in, used cars are a lot cheaper. We will see that again. I think it's happening actually pretty quickly. So I hope so. Put your feet, that's okay. What 3 stocks excite you at the moment and why? I got to be careful with that one because I'm not allowed to give investment advice. I'll tell you what, my investment strategy for the stock market is so basic. I invest in funds. Like, it's very rare for me to invest in an individual stock. I don't know, for the stock market, like I am totally good trying to capture that 7 to 10% return. I'm good with that. So I kind of keep it really basic. I have a video. I'll tell you what, I did a video with Sean Malto. We were golfing. We did a little contest. It was actually a bet on who could beat who on all the par threes. And he's like, I bet you $200 I'll win. Sean's a better golfer than me. And I was like, look, I'd rather not have the cash. Like, let's bet an investment. Like, what can we bet? And he was like, I'll bet you like a half a share of Microsoft. So I was like, all right, fine. Like, I'll take a half a share of NVIDIA. Like, let's just run it. I don't know. Those are like kind of the 2 stocks that we ended up picking for the bet. But I don't know. The hard part and why they don't want people like me telling you what to invest in or what stocks are good is because truthfully, like there's not a one size fits all investment approach. What works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And you have to remember, even in that spectrum, there's different ages, there's different risk profiles, there's different goals, there's liquidity needs. And so, that's why they say that. Now, in my perspective, I'd rather get people's opinions and then make a decision myself. But the SEC or FINRA or whoever you want to use as the governing body, they want to really control the information that gets out, or at least it feels that way. How can I protect my money from inflation? Trying to be financially free. Okay. The way that I've always, look, the reality of it is the way you protect your money from inflation is you put it into investments that are growing at a faster rate than inflation. Or two, you look for investments that benefit from inflation. Like, it's a big thing that we talk about in real estate. Real estate historically has been a good hedge against inflation because when inflation hits, it typically drives rents up. And because of how commercial real estate is, or if you're even just looking at multifamily apartments, it's valued based on really the income that comes in. You have cap rates, but the amount of income, if you can increase that, you're usually increasing the value. So what happened in the last few years, you had cap rates move almost about a full percentage in a lot of the markets we're looking at, which means like a ton of the value was taken off the top. Like that's a big haircut. But because inflation drives rents, there was such a big pop in the NOI that you didn't see that massive of a real correction happen. So I've always liked real estate for that regard, but you have to remember that there's different real estate assets that perform differently during inflationary moments, during recessions, and even different areas are impacted differently. So, if you're looking at this moment specifically, office is in a lot of trouble. Like office, I think most banks are looking at office going, we don't even have a way to solve this in the next 5 years. Like office is going to be tough. I'm already hearing hospitality owners, they're starting to struggle now. So I think those two asset classes are going to be hit pretty hard. My expectation, I think Airbnb is as well. I think it's going to move like hospitality. I think storage is going to do good. I think multifamily is going to do good because the fundamentals are still solid. Retail, believe it or not, is doing good. That was one I was surprised on when I saw the reports. Retail is actually performing pretty decent. Didn't expect that one. What's going to be interesting is like when you get into storage, there's different type of storage, right? RV storage typically gets smoked during recessions. RV storage usually gets hit really hard. The reason is when you're in when times get hard, you pull your money back and the things that you don't need, you sell. Usually what you see in the real estate kind of sector is people sell second homes or vacation homes, RVs, they let go of RVs. And so you see RV storage get impacted pretty hard usually. But I don't know, there's been because of the post-pandemic kind of era, I don't know how RV storage is going to perform considering that so many people own them and use them now. The question is, have they increased RV storage to the point of matching the new amount of demand because so many people bought these things that, if there's a correction, will demand still go above supply? We'll see. We shall see. But there's so many more RVs and campgrounds surging the amount out there. Yeah, it's just a numbers game. Like I was watching this video. I want to get your guys' opinion on this one. I actually talked to my partner for a long time about this. So I saw this video about the new middle class. Somebody made this video saying like the new middle class is now $120,000 a year. Like if you're not making $120,000 a year, you're not in the middle class anymore. And basically where he was going with it was, here's the average price of, no, this is what he said. He said, one staple of the middle class was home ownership. And then he kind of went, this is the average price of a home. This is, what the average monthly mortgage is. And then kind of how all of the other categories added up. He was basically like, you need to make basically net 7,500 a month, which is like 12 grand to get you to your 120, right? And so I was talking to my partner about that. Like, what is the new middle class and what is going on with home ownership? And, one thing I totally feel for people is like, it feels like home ownership is unattainable. His opinion, I make sure I'm getting you guys questions on this one. One thing my partner mentioned, he was like, look, there's a couple things at play here. He's like, one, the idea that everyone should be able to afford a home is new. Like that was never at play 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Like, home ownership was a staple. It was, a part of the American dream, and those who owned homes had a built-in savings account that kept a lot of people out of poverty. But it was still hard to buy a home. Even when you look at the pricing of them and how much it's changed, it was never an easy thing, and not everyone could always afford one. So, kind of his point was, one, we've shifted to now, what a lot of the messaging is everybody should be able to afford a home. Then the second part he was talking about was just supply and interest rates. And, one thing I said was, what you're starting to see a lot of real estate brokers say, and they may be right, we'll see, is that interest rates are going to come down. And when it does, the price of real estate is going to skyrocket again. And so if you're planning on buying a home, you should buy it right now before the rates go down so that you don't miss out. Now, could that be a tactic to sell? Yeah, it could be. Is there some truth in that? There could be. Like you could definitely look at human behavior and say, if right now buying a $400,000 home means I'm going to have a $3,600 mortgage, and if rates drop down to 3, well, now all of a sudden I'm going to have a $2,000, $1,900 mortgage. Well, now more people can afford it, and so you're going to see way more people bidding, and that's going to drive the price up, and then we're going to be in the same scenario we were last year. Yeah, that could happen. That absolutely could. But like on the other end, like kind of what I asked him and where I went with it was, yes, but will you see an increase in supply as well? Like, I do believe that there's a lot of people trapped in their homes right now. And I think there's people that want to sell and can't because interest rates have risen so fast that what they would move into would be way more expensive for way less of a house. And so, the next question is, if interest rates come back down to 3%, will you have a lot of new product hit the market because people can now sell? We'll see. The other thing that he mentioned, which I thought was fascinating, was from a policy standpoint, that you saw a lot of people in my generation actually go, I don't need a house. Like I don't want to be locked down somewhere. I want to live my life. I want to travel. You almost saw a portion of my generation shift into not thinking home ownership was important, or a lot of millennials watched their parents get smoked in the financial crisis. And so I think it actually left a distaste in a lot of people's mouth when it came to home ownership. And it's interesting when I think because of that, you saw a lot of the policymakers not really do anything to increase housing or to try to make it more attainable for more people. I think that's shifting, actually. I think there's, at least if I'm going off what I'm seeing on social, there's a lot more of the Gen Z generation that is about home ownership. They want it. They feel like it's unattainable, but they want it. And so the question is, will that push policymakers to, maybe remove regulation, increase incentive, do anything they can to create more of it so that housing becomes more affordable? Or what type of, loan programs will be available to accomplish that? We'll see. We will see. Is it finally time for a conventional arm? Yeah, 2008 scared the crap out of me with any type of adjustable rates or adjustable mortgages. I had one of them. It's funny because I was like the perfect victim of the 2008 scenario. It worked out okay for me. But basically, I bought a house in 2005. I got a loan that I probably shouldn't have been able to get. So I fell into the camp, which was we created demand because we were giving loans to anyone and everyone. So I got a loan. Thankfully, I refinanced right before the housing market got smashed. And, my home did lose a ton of value at $150,000 in value wiped out like that. But my mortgage didn't go through the roof. It stayed constant. That was the only reason why I was able to stay in the house at that time and just weather the storm. Now, there's another part of it where I watched a lot of my friends go, I had 5% down. My house is 100 so thousand underwater. Screw this thing. I'm walking away from it. And you watched a lot of people walk away from it. And it's interesting because there definitely was a feeling that I had back then, which was I'm paying my mortgage every month, even though I'm down this much value. Like, is the incentive for me to walk away from this thing? It felt like the incentive was in the wrong direction. And so I ended up holding. I held it for 15 years, and I broke even on the house. That was a learning experience. I need advice to create my own skateboard brand, and also the key to start with a potential skate shop to support skateboarding in Nicaragua. I want to give them a symbolic amount to earn. Okay, so starting a skateboard company. I'll try to give you actually the advice if you're starting any company, but skateboarding will be a good example because there's very little margin in it and it's very difficult to do. So if you don't want to do a skateboard company, I think this is actually as difficult as it gets, and anything you pick outside of skateboarding actually becomes easier. So hopefully this will be relevant. And this isn't to scare you out of it because, I think you start a skateboard company because you love skateboarding, not because you're going to make a lot of money. But the hard thing about skateboarding, about starting a skateboard company, is the cost to buy a board has only gone up in the last 20 years, and the price that you sell to a shop hasn't gone up that significantly. So we've had 20 years of just watching the margin get squeezed out of skateboards. It was a big reason why everybody went to the China wood when did that happen? Was that 2008 or 2009? Maybe a little bit later than that, because you could get it for cheaper, which actually brought your margin up. So there's not a lot of margin when it comes to skateboarding or skateboards. So the challenge you're gonna have, and I understand that this is a touchy one, but this is the reality of it. If you're gonna sell to skate shops, your margin is, you're paying $16 or so for a skateboard, and you're selling it to a shop for how much? 30, 35, 36, something like that. If you bypass the skate shop and you sell it direct to the consumer, now you're selling your skateboard for 50 or so. It's hard to say that because if you're not including the skate shops, I think it's important that we have skate shops, but on the other end, I'm not totally sure how you have a skateboard company that survives on that small of margin, knowing that nobody's selling that many skateboards. So I think if I were you, what I would try to do is, one, find a wood shop or somebody who makes boards that will sell you boards on demand, like print on demand, so that you don't have to buy the minimum amount of boards and then go out and hold your inventory till you sell them all. It's hard to do that. Like, see if there's any wood shops down there that, a second an order comes in, They have a print on demand option where they can print it, send it, and then you're making a royalty. I would probably do that while you're getting started, create the demand for it. And then once you have enough consumers, then look at going towards the conventional model. But it's testing the water is really hard. What I found is the amount of boards or the amount of any product you think you're going to sell a tenth of it. It's going to be a fraction of what you expect to do. And the hardest thing about business is the beginning. It's the first 5 years. The first year is really important though, because you're basically racing the clock on running out of money to having enough people find out who you are to buy from you to stop the bleed. That's basically the game you're playing. And it's really hard to build brand awareness and to get enough people to not only know who you are, but want to buy your product over your competitors. So maybe with all that said, the advice I would give you, start filming the journey now. I love the content forward entrepreneur founder that is filming their journey and building an audience before they even have a product launched. And so when they launch day one, they already have a consumer base. That's what I would probably focus on. Create content around the journey and bring people in every step of the way so that your launch is actually like pretty big. Are they still giving out loans to everybody like they did in the early 2000s? No, it's actually a lot different now. It's not totally easy to get a loan. Actually, I just experienced this recently. So when did this happen? 8 months ago, 9 months ago, we found black mold in our house, and basically we had to get out of the house. And just like that, me, my wife, and my 4 kids are, we're at her parents' house for 2 weeks, the lake house for a week. We're in Airbnbs. We're floating all over the place. And we did that for probably about 4 months. And I never knew this about me. I learned this from this experience. I need to have the house and the family stable to go perform when I leave the house. When that is not in a good place, I'm not able to do, what I need to do for the business. Anything that involves high stress, I can't handle when the family's not good. So I found myself like in this scenario where I was like, it was the first time in a long time where I felt like the stress was almost becoming unbearable. I felt like I wasn't able to perform. I was just like a mess. And so I had this like, we have to get into the house. I don't care what the house is. I don't care where it is. We have to get into one. So we saw there were about 6 homes. We put an offer in to buy one. I put 4 or 5 applications in to rent. And when I was going through the process of buying it, I knew I was going to have a hard time getting the loan. Because, and this is like one of the most frustrating parts, banks don't understand. They either don't understand, it's got to be an understand. They don't understand depreciation. They don't understand how you can use depreciation loss to offset your income so that it, on paper, looks like you're not making a lot of money, even though you are. And then even on top of that, I had, get real personal with you guys. I had, 18, 19, and 20. I wasn't paying myself with Commune at all. I was paying everybody else as we built the company. I had 0 income coming in from Commune. So I had no W-2 income. The 1099 income I had was a little bit inconsistent. I had some K1 income, but from what lenders like to see, I'm a disaster of a borrower. And I called a buddy of mine. I was like, hey, dude, I need to get this loan. I need to get it pretty quick. I know you could probably expect what my finances are going to look like. I am not a lender's best friend. What do you think? And he's like, no, I got this. And then sure enough, like what the lender came back with was, we really want to see 2 years of consistent W-2 income, which is frustrating. So all that to say, I couldn't even get a loan on a home a year ago in 2022, and I easily make enough money to have gotten that loan. Now, you can make the argument that banks have never liked anything that's not W-2 income, but even on stepping away from that, like lenders are pretty good about underwriting of people right now. And so I don't think we're going to see, I mean, that's a big reason why I don't think we'll see a 2008 for a long, long time. Like a lot changed post 2008 in not only how the regulation behind how you lend to people, but even what you do when you have troubled loans. Like banks can now take their time working out distressed assets or bad loans, as opposed to prior, it was just like dump them, you know? I think Mikey Taylor is dead now, for real. I don't know what that means. Debrief, what do you mean by that? This is such a bot account. What does that mean? Investment recommendations with a 50K yearly income. Okay, well, I want to see what this guy's talking about. Why does it keep zooming like I'm watching Family Guy on YouTube? I don't know. Should we bring him into this? You think Debrief will jump on the live? Let's see if he can come in. Debrief. Send me a request to come in. I'll jump you into this thing. Can I hop on as a collab and talk through the home search process and get your recommendation? Yeah, the only thing I don't know on that end, I'm on a Streamlab so that I could basically stream on all of the platforms. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram. It doesn't give me the option to jump people in like it does on your phone. So I don't know what to do about that. How will you spend or use FU money? Good question. So I don't have FU money. Let's say when I get there, honestly, I actually don't think much of my life is going to change that much as far as like, you know, our day-to-day lifestyle. For me, I actually, this is going to sound weird to say, but it's more the game element of it to me. Like I really like setting goals. I really like going through the process of trying to reach them. And I guess the money is just like kind of the metric of the game. But like, truth be told, like, I don't know, like I'm no happier now than I was, you know, making what I was making 5 years ago versus what I was making 15 years ago. Like, I don't know. I've always felt like money is only a tool. It has nothing to do with happiness. But what I will say is the more money you make, the more you're able to do, not only for yourself, but for others. Like, I do like the idea that you have more resources to then go out and give. And I would say there's two like schools of thought here. You know, when there's people in need or there's things that are going on in the community, there's a school of thought that the government should solve it, and there's a school of thought that the people should solve it. I've actually always been kind of on the latter side. Like, I actually don't think that the government should come in and solve everybody's problems or solve everybody's needs. Like, I always thought it was rad when the community went to do it. So I like that, you know, if you're in a position to either earn more, to build more wealth, it gives you more tools to go out and do things for others. I've always liked that side. Debrief, what's he got going on for us? I can't hear you there is clearly affirmate. I don't know. All right. I was interested at first, but my guy fell off. All right. Should I go and get a med degree as my second degree, or is it not worth it with debt? Morgan, okay, my thoughts on schooling and education. If you're looking at going to spend more money to learn something so that you can apply that in a career, I would just look at what the earning potential is for you. And I would just work backwards. This is what I can earn. This is the cost that I'm going to have to put in to earn that extra income, and then decide if it's worth it. A lot of times people get, I don't know what the percentage is, but there's definitely people that spend a certain amount of money to get a degree for a certain job that actually can't even pay back the debt that they used to learn that skill. I would stay away from that. Now, there are people out there, this is a totally fair argument, that they're like, look, I just want to learn. Like, it's not about the money for me. I just want to know more, and I'm willing to pay for that knowledge. All good. And I can't really say anything against that. That's a very good option for that being your desire. But if your desire is to earn, I would just look at what the earning potential is. Any apps to start investing like Acorn or Fidelity, can you note the difference or what is better as an index fund? All right, so Acorns I think is cool for rounding up your savings. I think Robinhood is cool, just the fact that they've kind of gamified investing. I think it's made it fun to invest, where a lot of people think it's boring, and so they don't. You got to be careful with the fun aspect, because the fun aspect will definitely or has the potential of increasing risk. But I don't know. I would actually say Robinhood. I think Robinhood's like a fine platform to use. I think the more important part is making sure your investments each month are consistent, and that what you're investing in fits your goals. I think that's more of the important part, rather than what platform do you use. Get into construction. Anything I can do for a one-on-one. Cut M Jack. You know what? Let me ask you guys. That's something that. Let me get your guys' opinion on this one. I'm starting to get hit up by people asking for one-on-one time, and a lot of people saying, I'll pay you for your time. I'll pay you for your time. That's something I've never done. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, I understand time is money, and I understand that that's valuable, but on the other end, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know how I think of what I think about that. What do you guys think? Is that something that you frown upon? Is that something that you think is like a bar? I don't know. What do you guys think? What is an IUL, and what are your thoughts on it? Index Universal Life. There's going to be some people in here that sell insurance. So, look, this is just my thoughts. I only use insurance for the purpose of insurance. I don't use insurance as an investment vehicle. I have a hard time investing in things that are overly complex, because I can't ever get to a framework of knowing what it is I'm investing in. A lot of insurance policies are just that. Like, I can't get anybody to break it down to where I can go, oh yeah, okay, I like that, I don't like that, and then make the decision. The other thing, a lot of insurance product has such an insane front end fee that I think it diminishes returns. Some of the products that have a floor and a ceiling, I think, I don't know. I would personally rather invest in something that didn't have the floor, so that I didn't have the ceiling. I've just look. I do have a couple friends, and they've been the closest to show me a package or a put together a policy that actually got close to making sense. I think the majority of them are actually don't work for the majority of people. I could be wrong in this one, but I feel like most insurance policies or package, whatever you want to call it, investments, can be built for very, very wealthy people. I think the middle, like if you're middle class or even like high income earner, I think most of them don't make sense. Okay, it would be very helpful to have a one-on-one. Okay, maybe that's, you know what I'll say though? Let me know what you guys think about this one. Thankful you didn't charge us. I do a lot of them like this, right? Oh, the Not Boring podcast. I had my guys out here. I think you should do it. Maybe Discord. Can I get a license to your real estate leads tool until I buy my first home? The license that we have is so freaking expensive, and each person we add on is so expensive. Helped me buy a house with my wife. Heck yeah. Acorns is excellent. I like it too. All right. I own a duplex in LA. I bought March 2020. Haven't been able to raise rents for COVID moratoriums. I currently losing about $650 a month, but have some equity on it. What would you do? Oh, thank you. You can just put it right on the couch. Thank you. Okay. The hard part about duplexes can be hard, just like single family. There's not a lot of units, so it can be challenging to get cash flow positive. In my perspective, I don't ever want to own real estate that's not cash flow positive. Now, there's times where maybe you buy something that doesn't cash flow so that you're building it out to cash flow. That's all good. But if it were me, I would not want to own something that I'm having to pay every month. That's, to me, not a good real estate investment. So I don't know what you can sell it for. If you have some equity on it, maybe look into that. But I don't personally like the idea of having to pay that thing every month. By the way, this is Curtis. Shout out Mikey, Borchard King, my man. What's going on? All right. It would be, okay. Oh, that was the thing I was going to say on the one-on-one stuff. What do you guys think if we did, maybe we do a Discord, or maybe we did like a group call? The hard part about the one-on-one, it's just I don't have a ton of time available to do it. And so I guess my question to you guys is, how would it be if it was a small group? Like, what if we did 15 people, 10 people, something where I could at least commit to helping more than one person with the limited time I have? What do you guys think about that? How do you buy real estate in LA that is cash flow positive unless you put a huge amount as a down payment? That's a really, really good question. So look, we invest in LA, we invest in California. The way we do it is we buy something that's typically distressed. We want to buy something, usually at a discount, and then we scrape and then we build it. And that allows us to get a higher, what we call yield on cost than what the current cap rate is. So I guess how you could say that is we can build it to a higher cap rate so that it cash flows. Now, it's difficult to build. It's expensive to build, right? Like, we've got $40 million projects. Like, that's not something that just anybody can go do. How we do it, we bring a bunch of people together so that we can do projects that large. If you're not going to do that, yeah, it's hard. Right now, you're basically buying in cash to make that happen right now, because we're in a situation where cap rates are below interest rates. So I think the only option to do it in California is to build or invest with others so that you can maybe do what we're doing, which is build a higher cap rate. Mastermind groups around specific concepts would be awesome. Bryce. So it's interesting. Like I did a podcast on Monday, and they brought something up that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about, but they were spot on when they said it, which was, we started talking about skateboarding, and then we started talking about St. Archer, and then we started talking about commune, and then we started talking about city council, and then we started talking about even like social media. And they were like, there's so many different things that like the podcast kind of went all over the place, which is kind of cool, but it's also difficult as well because like I think it is really good to like niche down and focus on one thing. So my question to you is, out of all of my interests, right, which are really skateboarding, entrepreneurship, building business, real estate investing, and like city council, but I want to apply to this conversation. So let's say there's 4, or you can call it social media. Which one? What should we talk about? Like, what should we focus the mastermind on? Should it be on just basic finance? Should it be on investing in real estate? Should it be on building business? Should it be on marketing? What do you guys think? Will Thousand Oaks ever get a skate park like one in between Borchard and Westlake? The only one they have right now is at the teen center. Have you been over to it? It's a little bit small. It's kind of like, has like a Borchard Park kind of type of vibe. But we are trying to redo Borchard. We are trying to make the Borchard Park a lot bigger. How's development in affordable housing in California? Are there plenty of opportunities to acquire tax credits from HUD for development? All right, so Vic, we have never been able to figure that one out. The affordable housing aspect, we haven't found a way to make it pencil. Now, what a lot of cities do is they have you put a portion of affordable housing into your apartments. I think that's probably normal, but what you're asking about is like really just focusing on affordable housing. I don't know how to make it work yet. Even with the tax credits, I don't know how to make money doing it. So I'm not sure. Do I think that's where the opportunity is? I think a lot of people are going to start focusing on areas that are affordable. So I think figuring out how to bring housing online that brings the cost to do that down, I think that's a huge opportunity. In California specifically, it's tough because we just don't have enough units. Like, even by offering the percentage of affordable housing that they're doing, it's not going to solve the problem without bringing the supply up. Like, you really got to bring the supply up. And so we'll see how that goes. We develop here in NJ, but the properties are 100% tax credit. So Vic, walk me through that. Like, give me specifics on how it ends up working for you. What tax credits are they giving you? How does your return end up looking? What's the play there? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. This is easy. Thank you. Hauling is neutral. Thank you. I love that, bro. Thank you for that. This is easy. Schedule topics. Monday, finance. Tuesday, real estate, et cetera, et cetera. But Friday should be extreme sports. That way, everyone gets a chance to what a freaking legend. What do you do? Hauling is neutral. What do you do for work? Do you live in California? Do you want to come work for me? I absolutely love that. I'm writing it down. It was so good. Freaking legend. Finance. Tuesday. Vic, the profit is made in the development process. So, are you a developer? And when you say the profit is made in the development process, are you talking about your development fees? And then how does the structure work? Do you get your development fees and then do you have a profit share? Or is there a carried interest? And then what happens once it's built? This is sick. Here it is. Met you a few years ago, changed my life and outlook on business and what's possible. ST Performance, thank you. I'm humbled to be able to be a very small part of what you're doing. Keep doing it. I love that. It's a secret, man. Bro, it's Curtis from Newbury Park, the BMX. Curtis, what a legend. How are you? Bro, I haven't seen you in so long. Sick, dude. I'm a first-time rental property owner. Congrats. Do you know any good CPAs in Southern California for taxing purposes? Payman, I do. Shoot me a DM and I'll shoot you over their contact. What's your strategy for buy and hold? No reno and cash flows. Is it VA assumable loans? AZ has a lot, maybe a good cash flowing property. So for us, we don't do that. Like everything we're doing right now is build to hold. If I was not doing that, if I was just trying to buy cash flowing projects, I would do it either with, I would either do it with assumable loans or some type of creative financing, or I'd buy in cash right now. Come to Washington. Connor, we have a property in Washington. We have a storage unit in Bellevue, and I do need to get up there. I've needed to get up to that property for a while now. I will make sure everyone knows when I'm heading up there, so maybe we can do something in Washington, maybe like a meetup when I go. All right, let me just make sure that Jen's not calling. Okay. All right, I'm going to do, if you have any other questions, let's do 2 more, and then I'm going to have to take off. Okay, let's see. Okay, me Hetty. Shoot me a DM, my man. Shoot me a DM. Thank you. If you need a part-time lead generator, hit me up, though. I should probably invest my time in my ad agency. Yeah, that's good. So for us, all right, we're in a, you guys want to hear a business? You want to hear something we're struggling with on my personal business? Maybe I can, you know what? That's what I'm going to ask. Can we finish this off with me getting your guys' opinion on what to do here? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'll tell you about what the challenge is. See if you guys can help me with this. So our business right now, we're not having a problem with leads. Our problem is actually the management of the leads. We have more leads coming in than we've ever had since the existence of this business. And it actually has felt really quickly that we're underwater trying to manage them. And so our opportunity is fixing that end of it. Now, what does that mean? So basically, we probably get, trying to think of the numbers, we probably get about 10 leads a day or so that come in of people wanting to invest with us or interested in investing with us. And so that's Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, it stacks. So, if we leave the office on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we might get in Monday with like 20 something new leads. And then, you'll get additional 10 on Monday, but you're not able to touch all of them in one day. Or maybe the better way to say it is the amount compounds on itself, because if somebody puts in their information and you reach out and they don't answer, well, then now they're, you move them into your pipeline, but you have to schedule another time to hit them up. So maybe you're going to hit them up the next day. So the percentage of people that don't respond get added onto the new leads that came in that day, and then it just becomes a lot, right? So what other people do, and this is what we're trying to navigate through, is in their sales organization, they have setters and they have closers, right? The setters, call the lead that opted in. Let's call it in the first 20 minutes. And it's, let me pick a name. Twinkle, right? Twinkle, hey, I just saw that you opted into Commune. I can't wait to schedule a call for you to speak to one of the principals. I just have to ask you a couple questions real quick before we schedule it. Are you an accredited investor? This is our timeline. Does that timeline work for you? This is our minimum investment. Does that work for you? Okay, great. All right, let's schedule a call, right? That's what all the setters do. And then from there, people have closers, and they're the ones who are talking about the investment, doing all the follow-up, etc. So for the management of this, we're interviewing VAs that are setters. My question to you guys, do you think it's better to have VA setters? Do you think it's better to have people in office that are setting? Or do you think it doesn't matter? Most of you see my content to know I like people being in office. And then on the closing part, one thing that we try to do, and we might just have to change this just because of scale, we like having one of the principals on when they're presenting the investment to people, because I kind of like the idea of, when we have a lead come in, they're talking to the people that actually make the decisions. They're not only like answering any questions they have, but you're talking to one of the owners. Part of me really likes that. Like, I think there's a lot of value in that than speaking to somebody who's just on the sales side. I don't know. So here's my question to you. Do you think I'm putting too much weight on the value of speaking to a principal, or do you think that's actually a good touch point? And then two, the question is, we will hit max capacity at some point if we're doing that. So that's my question. That's what I need. Can be outsourced for setters, maybe a tier system. Yeah, so that's what we're going through right now. I think we're going to end up outsourcing the setters. But here's my real question to you. Do you think there's value in potential investors speaking to principals or the decision makers? Or do you think that holds us back because you get to a point where you get capped on time? What do you guys think there? That's really what I need to figure out. Megan Duffy, value in speaking to a principal. It's good to know. What do you guys think? Value in speaking to a principal, or what's the percentage of leads that are actually accredited investors? That's a good question. I don't know what the actual percentage breakdown is offhand. I can find out, but it's a lot of the majority is accredited investors, where you start losing people in the funnel, which is just part of it. You have people that just put in their information that you never get a hold of, or they put in bad information. So you wipe out that percentage. And then in the accredited investor bucket, there are people that just are interested. Like, they don't want to make an investment, they just wanted information. And so once you remove that, you actually get to a qualified accredited investor. But how we run our advertising, it's pretty geared at an accredited investor. So we bring in a lot of at least accredited investor leads. When you actually get to a qualified one, you definitely have drop off. All right, so let me just look back to see if you think there's value. I think it would be valuable as long as the vetting process is extremely thorough and investor is prepared. Really good point, Bryce. Yeah, really good point. The other thing I was going to do on the setters, I was going to put it on my social to see if anybody was interested in doing that for our company. Coming on, setting, with I don't know if we would do it as like a paid internship, or if you just did it as like a setter with the possibility of moving into something else. I don't know. But I was thinking about even just throwing it on social, like, so anybody want to jump on and help us on that aspect? Because it wouldn't be worth a principal's time if a lot weren't. If it's JB, that's what you're saying. Yeah, by the time it makes it to an on-call presentation, it's a qualified investor. For sure, and that's a really good point you made up. Really what the question is, even though all of the calls are with qualified accredited investors, you can still only make so many calls a day. And so you're putting a ceiling on yourself if you're making it a point that accredited or qualified leads are always speaking to principals, because we only have, a small amount of principals. So that's really the question is there value in it? I recognize we'll get to a point where it can't be like that forever. So do you have a ticketing system that's filtering potential leads for setters? We do. Yeah. BD Nick, we do. Dang, this is a lot of value. I got to thank you guys. This live, I'm taking away a lot from this one. This is great. All right, I've got a 5 o'clock. I've got to head home. BD Nick. Oh, here we go. The goal is to pay off all of the student debt by the end of next year. What would you recommend? All right, Cameron, let's end it on this one. Get all of the expenses that you can cut gone. If you've got a car payment, see if you can sell that thing, buy something in cash, remove the car payment. Anything that's going towards lifestyle stuff, travel, eating out. If you're buying like high-end clothes, scaled down, cut back as much as you can to put as much money as possible to get rid of your debt. That's how you got to do it. It's the only way. Check YouTube comments, legend. I got you. All right, everybody. Thanks, Mikey. Love the journey, man. BD Nick, I appreciate you, legend. All right, everybody. Have a phenomenal night. I'm gone tomorrow. I'm in San Diego at a property. I'll be back Friday. I'll try to do a live on Friday.